Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Honorable Ministers, distinguished participants. Every year at the Stake in the Nation Forum with great anticipation, we get to hear from the Central Bank of the Gambia about the volume of inflows of remittances in the preceding year. It is my honor to invite Governor Boasedi to announce the 2021 remittance figures. Welcome, Governor.
Thank you, Moderator. I stand here on behalf of my governor, Governor Boasedi, to deliver the remittance data for the year 2021. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, I understand ably represented by Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Honorable Barrajuf, Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Honorable Mamburijai, Honorable Minister of Justice, Honorable Jalo, other cabinet ministers present, Professor Jibril Fall of GK Partners, London School of Economics, Professor Amina Silla at the high table, other cabinet ministers, UNDP representative here in Gambia, Mohamed Bari of IMF Resident Rep Banjul Office, religious leaders, distinguished guests, stakeholders of the Migration and Sustainable Development in the Gambia, MSDG, the press, print, and electronic media, all the protocols duly observed. I greet you all and take this singular honor to welcome you all to the 5th stake of the Nation Forum. I think my task is a simpler one, to present to you the remittance data for the year 2021. Your Excellencies, allow me to emphasize that the significance of this event cannot be overemphasized, considering the importance of remittances to our balance of payments of the Gambia and its overall impact on the livelihood of the average Gambians. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to give a catalogue of remittances over the years. In 2018, the total remittance reached 277 billion. That's 18% growth in 2019. In 2019, it reached 328 million US dollars. This is 31% of our GDP. In 2020, despite the COVID, it reached 589 million US dollars, forming 47% of our GDP. And in 2021, 774.6 million US dollars. Maybe I'll have to repeat this again. In 2021, that's January to December 2021, 774.6 million US dollars. This is forming 62.9% of our GDP. Despite the challenges of the coronavirus, diaspora Gambians have not relented in supporting their families and enhancing development aspirations of the motherland. During the year 2021, as I said, the volumes increased unprecedentedly to the level of 74.6 million US dollars from 589 million in 2020, recording an increase of 31.3%. In 2021, this figure, 774 million, translate into $40.65 billion. The 774.6 billion translate into $40.65 billion government dollars. Despite the global pandemic, the Central Bank of the Gambia has considerably improved its data recording methodologies by encouraging the market operators to supply relevant data in respect to remittances. Due to the high accuracy of the data, both the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the World Bank now rely on Central Bank of the Gambia data as an authoritative data for analysis and reporting. Further, the Central Bank is working with other partners to disaggregate this volume into use of remittances, building and construction, consumption, education, health, agriculture, among others, to inform policy on the use of remittances. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, whilst looking forward to a more disaggregated remittance data in the years ahead, I take this opportunity to thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jabi. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to invite Professor Jibril Fall, Director of GK Partners and the MSDG Project Director, to deliver his statement. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much, DSP Ba and your band, your honorable ministers, religious leaders, National Assembly members, distinguished guests. We are humans, creatures of habit, are we not? We develop habits that become customs, that become tradition. 5 years on at SNF, we have developed habits. But like all other endeavors in lives, there's always threats. At the very start of SNF, we always knew that there was a threat to this forum, and a powerful threat to that. That risk affecting the effective viability of the participants. And that threat is no other than our neighbor, Yusundur. Yusu have also developed a habit. that on the second Friday of the new year, he will convene nearby at the Cocoa Ocean. And my people, he would make collateral damage of them. By the morning of the Saturday, some would stagger, some would come by midday thinking it is 8 o'clock. Mr. Ndur has been a havoc to us. Today, another tradition is that we would have either the president or the vice president. I'm looking around and I'm saying, where's the president? Apparently, democracy had a go at us because he's celebrating election victory. 2021 has been an year that Gambia perhaps witnessed the most democratic elections ever. With the change of circumstances in terms of awareness, media access, people have been more engaged than ever before. And on behalf of MSDG, I take this opportunity to congratulate the great people of the Gambia for participating in the Festival of Democracy. I thank the chairman of the IEC and his team, and I thank every citizen and congratulate all the participants. I live in the diaspora, so there is a big secret you are not aware of. That is, I didn't have the vote. Mr. Njai is looking at me. We've had so many discussions about this matter. But today, we've begged the Minister of Justice to come and talk to us about it. But however you look at it, there is no way one can begrudge democracy. One of our finest poets, Gambia's finest poets, is the economist and perhaps a polymath, Dr. Tijan Sala. And in one of his writings, he effectively gave us emotional relativity. Here I lie in Harrow, licking over my sorrows, like a dog whose injured dignity makes him howl silently in pity. Life has a way of coming to a bump. When I am speeding aimlessly on the hump of the quest of coins and fame, for why should I be suddenly lame? Here I lie in Harrow. I might just as well have been in a wheelbarrow, for time takes slowly to the aching of joints and muscles, and the body slowly waking. My friends, the wards, bring books and shoes. Their love takes away my mind from the blues. They joke about the Dickensian hell I have been in. I look up, I see warmth in their faces full of brim. Our brother, the poet, had an accident and was in hospital in Harrow, far from home. Yet he introduces us to the fact that we never get everything we want, and what we have, we must be grateful for. But that does not mean we don't keep asking. So Mr. Njai, Honorable Jallo, we keep asking. Mr. Salah, the poet, has many friends in the world of intelligentsia. And one of his mentors and friends was Chinua Achebe. Of course, Of Things Fall Apart. And Achebe wrote, he said, we gather together in the moonlit village ground, It is not because of the moon. Every man can see it from his own compound. We come together because it is good for kinsmen to do so. The tradition of the forum is that it is good for kinspeople, home and abroad, to do so. That we should meet, that we should chat, that we should argue, that we should forge solutions to the many problems that would forever be with us. So what do we talk about? For us at the MSDG project, we are now talking implementation and practicality. We have gone boring. We have gone very boring. We have gone to the focus of the practical connections and the partnerships to make things happen. For all the shiny and brilliant ideas, we think we have quite many of those. So when we talk here, we talk about how to get those boring things done. What else do we talk about? I understand we're talking about football. To look at me, you wouldn't think it. But I too have spent many years playing football. I can think of all those goals. I never scored. I was so bad at football, it made sense to fill in a team of 10 than to place me in the team, because I would be a liability. Yet I played. Never underestimate the determination of the incompetent. Of our football team, we wish them luck, we pray for them, and we cheer for them. By the way, you guys go and get the injuries. Go and get the injuries. In my estimate, over 90% of our football team are diaspora. Isn't that remarkable? Very many things that we do, the diaspora do it at a scale that is momentous. It is just the nature of how things are. They are not more special, but the circumstances of being out and the circumstances of what they took when they went out allow them the degree of productivity that we don't see at home. Fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, let that not create a gap, let it be a bridge. For every characteristic, good or bad, that we witness at home, you will witness in the diaspora, for we are your kinspeople. It is not cause for acrimony or to vilify us. It is because we are your family. I remember when I began to think that England was my home. It is when I caught myself complaining about everything in England. Prior to that, I did not care if they burned their country. But when it had become my home, I cared, so I complained about everything. Honorable ministers, friends, colleagues, we have been running late on this session, so I shall not keep you long. But I want to take this opportunity to thank the government of the Gambia and the government of Switzerland, who, one other tradition, the Swiss ambassador is always here, but our friend, the last ambassador, had finished her tour of duty and returned to Bern, and the new ambassador had not presented his letters yet, so he couldn't be with us. But I take this opportunity to thank our partners and to encourage you all this afternoon, this morning, this afternoon, to engage in the discussions about the whole range of programs we are implementing with a whole range of new partners. It is a pleasure seeing you all. Last year it was online, and we hope that next year we would do it without our beautiful masks. Thank you so much.
Allow me to invite the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, Honorable Mamburenjai, to deliver his statement. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, MC. Professor Fall, I just want to clarify that every single dollar that was voted for by the National Assembly approved, IEC, we have disbursed everything. Uncle Ali is here to confirm, just to clarify for the diasporans. Honorable Minister of Higher Education, representing His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Honorable Barara Diouf, the representative of the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly and National Assembly members, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Daouda Jallow, Professor Fall, and Professor Aminata Silla, ambassadors, representatives of the international organizations, chair of IEC, permanent secretaries, the Deputy Governor 1, representing the Governor of the Central Bank, Gambian diaspora experts and development partners, i.e. IMF, World Bank, and the UN families, representative of the youth, women, professionals and labor organizations, municipal leaders, senior academics, media practitioners, religious leaders, and I would respectfully recognize the presence of the special guest, Ernest Young, and founder of the Ebujang Theater, all protocols respectfully observed. It gives me a great honor to deliver a statement on the official opening of the 5th State in the Nations Forum and SNF5. Professor Fall, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and your project team for the tremendous work you have done over the years to attract diaspora investments in the Gambia through the championing of the diaspora bond. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs continues to partner with GK partners through the MSDG project on mainstreaming diaspora finance and introducing innovative financial products to attract diaspora investments. As part of efforts to streamline diaspora bonds in our financing strategy, the debt management and the Directorate of the Ministry of Finance has prepared a medium-term debt management strategy that is from 2022 to 2026 that incorporates issuing a diaspora bond for infrastructure financing. In November 2021, the Capital Market Bill was ratified and legislated into an act. This is a significant milestone in promoting innovative financial solutions from debt to equity financing to bridge the infrastructural deficiencies in the country. Furthermore, in a strive on preparing the market for long-term debt, long-dated debt instruments like diaspora bonds, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs successfully issued $2.3 billion of bond in a 3-year government bond and $2 billion in 5-year bond in 2021, which we are both successful in attracting a subscription rate of over 200% with a single-digit weighted interest rate. As enshrined in our National Development Plan, the government of the Gambia recognizes and values the Gambian diaspora as an important factor and actor in national development. The National Development Plan heralds a new approach to effective and productive engagement and partnership between the government, non-state actors, and diverse diaspora. Practical and result-oriented diaspora development programs and schemes based on global best practices will be developed and implemented. For example, the diaspora bond. Being the topic or the burning issue of the day, i.e. diaspora bond, I want to highlight some pertinent points on this subject matter. Unlike a regular bond issuance by our ministry, a diaspora bond is a debt instrument issued by a country or potentially a sub-sovereign entity or a private corporation to raise financing from its overseas diaspora. The diaspora purchases of bonds issued by a country of origin are likely to be driven by a sense of patriotism and the desire to contribute to the home country's development. Thus, there is often an element of charity stroke philanthropic in these investments. The placement of bonds at the premium allows the issuing country to leverage on the charity element into a substantially larger capital flow. To the investors, diaspora bonds provides an opportunity to diversify asset composition and improve the risk management. It is against this background that this year's stake in the Nations Forum is deemed timely, and I wish you a successful engagement. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
To invite Honorable Dauda A. Jallow, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, to deliver his statement. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, represented by our colleague, Honorable Juf, the Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Honorable Cabinet Ministers here present, National Assembly members, the Chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, vulnerable religious leaders. The protocol is so long, so allow me to stand on the existing protocols, all of which are respectfully observed. It gives me pleasure to participate and address the fifth stake in the Nations Forum. Personally, on my side, this is the first time. The stake in the Nations Forum have over the past 5 years become the central forum for discussion of key issues relevant to the diaspora role in national development and their involvement in the political and socio-economic life of the Gambia as de facto 8th region of the Gambia. A few weeks ago, the Gambia went to the polls to cast their votes in the presidential elections. This was by far one of the most significant events of the past 5 years. The election was hailed as free, fair, and transparent by the unprecedented number of international election observers that came from around the world to observe our elections. This assessment now goes well for our strive to build a robust democracy. The elephant in the room, and by far one of the most discussed issues with regards to the just ended election, was the issue of diaspora voting. The rights of Gambians registered in the diaspora to register and to vote in elections. And the Prof have said he's expecting me to say something about it, and I will. As you all know, the national debate on the issue commenced in the months leading up to the elections, with efforts made in many quarters to explore the viability of this option. Unfortunately, diaspora voting could not be implemented in time for the just ended presidential elections. Indeed, in the run-up to the election, the IEC issued guidelines for diaspora voting, released a roadmap for the operationalization of the diaspora voting ahead of the presidential elections. Our current constitution is indeed quite clear on the right to vote. It provides that every citizen of the Gambia being 18 years or older and of sound mind shall have the right to vote for the purpose of elections of president and National Assembly, and shall be entitled to be registered as a voter in a National Assembly constituency for that purpose. From the above constitutional provision, it does grant a right of every citizen the right to be registered to vote. However, following the interpretation of this provision, it was realized that the Constitution limits such registration to National Assembly constituency. National Assembly constituencies are a distinct geographical area demarcated by the Boundary Commission pursuant to Section 50 of the Constitution. This raised practical difficulties with regards to the registration of Gambians in the diaspora. As observed, voters must belong to and only vote in constituency of their registration unless they transfer their registration. In this case, however, the Gambia does not have any National Assembly constituencies in the diaspora, and as any registration of voters outside of the Gambia could potentially be unconstitutional. You will recall that there was an active litigation on this matter before the Supreme Court, as was in the case of Bibi Dabo and others versus the IEC and the Attorney General. In the Supreme Court's judgment, in this case, the Supreme Court did not delve into the issue of voter registration. However, the Supreme Court strongly restated the constitutional right of citizens to be registered to vote and to vote in elections. The court, however, did not provide any guidelines for the operationalization of diaspora voting, thus leaving the divergent views unresolved. Several meetings were held between the IEC, political stakeholders, government in a bid to explore possible options for the operationalization of the diaspora voting. It was concluded that this will require a constitutional amendment and an amendment of the Elections Act, which was not feasible at the time given the mandatory timeline for passing of new legislation. I am happy to note that under the draft constitution, the situation is different. The draft constitution employs different language with regards to the registration of voters, removing the requirement for voter registration to take place within a National Assembly constituency. Section 79 provides for an act of the National Assembly which shall make provisions for, among other things, voter registration in the diaspora. In spite of all these proposed provisions on the diaspora voting, some practical and administrative matter will still need to be resolved, such as the criteria for selecting or selection of countries to host diaspora registration and voting centers, and other financial implications of running elections in the diaspora. The framers of the draft constitution most likely anticipated these difficulties, and drafted Section 79(2), paragraph F as such, that the diaspora voter registration and voting was applied in a progressive manner to take into consideration the various practical hurdles. Allow me to take this opportunity to assure you all that I am willing and ready to convene stakeholder consultation meetings between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Gambians abroad, the diaspora leadership, the Independent Electoral Commission, and my ministry, being the liaison ministry or government department for election matters, to look into some of these hurdles referred to above with a view to finding immediate solutions to them in the short term. Your leadership is hereby invited to contact my office as soon as they can to start work immediately in finding solutions to some of these hurdles. Finally, and for the long term, we are all aware that His Excellency the President has repeated his commitment to the constitutional review process and to having a new constitution during his second mandate. I am therefore confident that once this process got underway, we will have the opportunity to actively debate once more the issues of diaspora voting, but not only voting, also other key issues touching on the diaspora's political and economic, other issues touching on the diaspora in light of their significant importance to national development and the social, political, and economic DNA of the country. I thank you once again for your kind attention, and I wish you a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Ministers, Professor Jibril Fall, Director of the MSDG Project, Gambian Diaspora, National Assembly members, religious and community leaders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am actually not going to continue with the protocol. I'm just going to stand on the existing one because I have a feeling I might butcher it if I continue. It is with honor and great pleasure that I make a statement at the opening of the 5th Stake in the Nation Conference. Let me first take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for having made time out of your very hectic schedules to join us here this morning. We're honored to have you in our midst, and I wish to thank you sincerely for having responded to the invitation for you to participate at the Stake in the Nation Conference. And of course, you heard Prof. Fall talk about the Usunu Conference and the challenge and threat of democracy. So we're honored that you actually responded to our invitation to be here today. We are here to engage, consolidate, and accelerate our national development. But most importantly, what brings us here today is to provide a platform within which you, as stakeholders to the affairs of our government, can share with us your views, opinions, and thinking on the stake in the nation of our country. Today, the Gambian diaspora is approximately 140,000 strong. Let me repeat that, approximately 140,000 strong. It has grown over the years, diversified, and is a fundamental player in the political, social, economic, and cultural fabric of the development of the Gambia. This hegemony explains why we are here today. Presently, there are more than 215 million people around the world who live outside of countries they call home, including myself. Some of us are lucky to have left for better opportunities, while others are forced to leave to escape economic hardships. Whatever the reason, whether it's necessity or choice, we all have a profound connection to our families, friends, communities in our home countries. The clearest expression of this connection is the what was the number again, Governor? $774 million in remittances the Gambian diaspora sent home in 2021. These remittances provide the food, the clothing, and shelter for hundreds of families here in the Gambia. The depth of the connection is also seen in the quick responses from the Gambian diaspora to emergencies, as we saw during the 2016 impasse, when tensions and uncertainty were high, the massive flooding we saw a few years ago, and most recently, during the height of the pandemic. When there is a greater need at home, Gambians send home significantly more remittances to help their families. The flow of capital from diaspora should be seen as the most tangible element of the nexus between migration and development. As we interact, we also recognize the unique opportunities and highlight some of the challenges with engaging with our diaspora community. We begin by acknowledging that the role of the Gambian diaspora goes far beyond remittances and meeting short-term needs. They also play a very important role in long-term development. Gambians contribute in many important and meaningful ways, including technology transfer. Because when you look at most of the new technology industries in the country currently, many are by Gambians who have returned home. We also have institutional linkages, myself included. I have connections with the University of the Gambia here and with my universities, linkages. For example, by contributing to the design of educational curriculum and training, diaspora can raise the quality of education in the Gambia. They can also directly provide rigorous professional development and leadership training programs. The transfer of technology is not the only vehicle through which the diaspora contributes to national development. They also provide resources, knowledge, and creative ideas and energy that contributes to the Gambia's development. There is a high potential to maximize the positive impact the diaspora has on creating jobs and income through financial investments. And of course, through the social capital and network of the diaspora. To fully reap this potential, it is key to have conducive legal frameworks in place. The skills, know-how, and insights of the diaspora into global opportunities can help raise funds, increase efficiency, and expand the Gambia into new markets. In the same vein, they can also be powerful advisors to the government in helping to improve the quality of public institutions and advocates to foreign businesses looking to expand in the Gambia. The potential for skills transfer by Gambian professionals in the diaspora can spur growth across different sectors in the country. However, the lack of infrastructure in place to realize these fruitful engagements tilts the conversation more into a transactional relationship. The diaspora are a natural connector or bridge builders that connects the Gambia to the rest of the world due to their transnational nature. And we must find a way to build on this and strengthen what the diaspora is already doing. As I've mentioned earlier, the diaspora population has grown, and so has their savings and the scale of resources available to reinvest. However, limited progress has been made in attracting these savings. We must offer the needed and necessary framework to maximize this investment potential. No magic formula exists to help maximize diaspora investments in the Gambia. And I don't think right now we can come up with one, as I stand here. But compared to a typical foreign direct investment, diaspora investment has a special appeal because the decision to invest is not driven purely by financial gains. There's also an emotional attachment, including that one day, Benabes, Lunkili, I will return home, so I must invest back home. And we also must keep in mind that while we're offering incentives to the diaspora, we do not isolate and create tension with our local businesses in the Gambia. The vast majority of businesses started in the Gambia are small and medium enterprises. This is where the diaspora can play a transformative role. No one is better positioned than Gambians abroad to start businesses. With their resources, creative energy, and ideas, they are perfectly positioned to take advantage of this extraordinary opportunity. We know money is not the problem. Money is not a problem. Good opportunities and clear mechanisms for making those investments are what is required. The government can work with the diaspora to help overcome some of these constraints that inhibit development, such as lack of investments and international business acumen, lack of professional and technical skills, isolation from global networks, and exclusion from global supply chains, among others. There is the notion that the diaspora and their contributions have been largely ignored or sidelined in the development sector of the Gambia. So we thank Dr. Fall and the MSDG project for actually highlighting our contentions with the government. Their skills, knowledge, and general keenness to contribute has not been harnessed to its full potential. I can spot a few in this room who can tell you they've offered their services, their professional services, on many occasions to their country and have been largely ignored. Thank you. I have spoken to Gambian doctors in the diaspora who have told me that they found it difficult to get into the Gambia to work and provide services pro bono. I mean, if someone is offering you services pro bono, the least you can do is actually encourage them to come home. All of this is because there is no clear pathway to contribute. there has to be a clear pathway for contribution. One of the challenges in developing comprehensive policies and programs that will harness the development potential of the Gambian diaspora is the lack of information, not so much about location of the diaspora, but the characteristics. What are their skills? What knowledge and expertise do they possess that can be leveraged? We may know where our Gambian diaspora are located, but we don't know what they do. What are their expertise? How can they help in the development of the Gambia? So not knowing where your diaspora is makes it hard to communicate with them. But not knowing how and in what capacities they can contribute to national development makes policy formulation difficult. Often, what we see is that our government can only manage to communicate with a relatively small and not necessarily representative group of diaspora members. And they keep going back to the same members over and over again and communicating with them. The question now becomes, what do we expect from the diaspora? Do we know the who, the what, and how of our diaspora? Diaspora still often lack a voice to speak on their collective objective due to trust issues, bureaucracy, lack of policy coordination and implementation, limited human and financial capacity, and of course, low digital information services. Because of all these issues, the diaspora should be considered not just as sources of financing, but as partners. I put forth some of these suggestions and recommendations. Build trust. Number one, we have to build trust. When there's a strong foundation of mutual trust and communication, the long-term project of building partnerships between the government and the diaspora is much more likely to succeed. Partnership, of course, is a two-way street. Too often, we have felt that the government sees us only as cash cows. This has to change. Yet, even if the government succeeds in building trust, a governmental institution is not necessarily the most suitable channel for mobilization of financial resources from the diaspora. Can you imagine me and other people in the diaspora sending our money home to the Honorable Mamdourin Jai and saying, hey, your government should invest this? We're not going to do that. Okay, so we need embrace the diversity of your diaspora. The Gambian diaspora should not be lumped together as one. We're very diverse. Their needs and motivation to contribute should also be understood. Some group may be willing to contribute or collaborate with the government, and others may not due to different reasons. So we should actually not, we should celebrate the diversity of the diaspora. Our policies relating to diaspora engagement should be developed in line with our national development policies. Our NDP has been in existence for a while now, and it is important that diaspora engagement policies build on existing policies and not embed them within the NDP. This will avoid duplications and overlaps. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to know your diaspora in order to be able to propose adequate opportunities for engagement. While not new, it is suggested that we should consider adopting a skills database where the question of diaspora characteristics will be put to rest. As I was putting this speech together, one of the suggestions I was given by my husband, he said, tell them to loosen the regulations. So I'm telling you to loosen regulations. Loosen regulations, especially in the technological sector. We are talking about the fourth industrial revolution globally. The Gambia is barely getting through the first. We need technology to leapfrog our development progress, and murky technology policies stifle diaspora motivation to invest in the technology sector in the Gambia. Finally, mobilize the diaspora for growth by organizing events such as these with stakeholders, including civil societies. And I think here the Ministry of Foreign Affairs can actually play a pivotal role by hosting high-profile events, identifying diaspora spokesperson, sponsoring travel for opinion leaders, and promoting partnerships. We can also appoint well-known members of the diaspora as spokespeople on diaspora issues. And of course, sponsor travel to countries of origin for young people. And I'll give you an example of this is the Bright Right Israel program that Israel has. This program was started in 2001, and it provides free educational trips to Israel for young diaspora adults aged between 18 and 32. Since its inception, over 260,000 diaspora youth from 52 countries have participated in the program. Can you imagine the magnitude of future investments if Gambians in the diaspora continue to retain a connection with the Gambia and nurture it in their children? This can be seen as an investment in global connections that will contribute to national development. We have to keep in mind that children of the Gambian diaspora, the second and third generations, may actually want to strengthen their ties with the Gambia and be dynamic agents of development. But they will need also a clear pathway on how to collaborate and work with other stakeholders and government of the Gambia. Where do we go from here? The Gambian diaspora is counted among the most successful expat communities anywhere in the world. Today, we occupy high positions in the fields of politics, economy, industry, technology, and education. This heterogeneous group, drawn from different historical and cultural contexts, are identified and held together by what? Their Gambianness and a deep cultural and emotional attachment towards the Gambia. The Gambian diaspora is the Gambia, and they must be encouraged to contribute in a meaningful way. They can be seen as one of its greatest offshore assets, as they can bring both financial resources and professional competences to the Gambia. At the end of the day, we all must come home, whether home is the Gambia or elsewhere. Because in the words of Oliver Wendell Holmes, where we love is home. Home that our feet may leave, but not our hearts. Thank you. Jedid and Jif. Allah Baraka. Nuare. Una thank you.
On behalf of the MSDG project, at the occasion of the 5th Stake in the Nation Forum on 8 January 2022, we send our congratulations to the people of the Gambia for a historic democratic presidential election. We also congratulate His Excellency, President Adama Barrow, for his re-election to the office of the President. May we now stand for the national anthem as I invite the Honorable Minister, Mr. Badara Diouf, Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, to deliver the 5th Stake in the Nation Forum presidential address on behalf of His Excellency, President Adama Barrow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Honorable representative of the Speaker of the National Assembly, honorable ministers here represented, members of the National Assembly, UN representatives, and like my predecessors, I would want you to allow me to say all other protocols respectfully observed. Mr. Moderator, before I read the President's speech, allow me to comment and reflect on some of the partnerships that previous speakers have mentioned. And I am reminded of an in-flight magazine that I read during my travel from Joburg to Manzini. The proverbial story of two sets of people. One group from hell and the other group from heaven. The group from hell appeared, they had arms 3 meters long, and they were very thin, skinny, like me. The other group from heaven had arms 3 meters long, but were very fat and healthy looking, like, with due respect, the Minister of Justice. I'm not sure whether he was doing justice or injustice that led to that. And the question arose, why are you people so thin from hell? And they said, because we have arms 3 meters long and it's difficult to feed ourselves. And the same question was posed to the people from heaven. And they said, yes, we have 3 meters, arms 3 meters long, but we feed each other. Acquiring worthwhile development is a task of self-help and mutual help. So partnership, collaboration, coordination underpins mutual development. It takes time. It is not like instant coffee. It's a process. And on Mr. Fall, the emotions of the heroic poet, I take solace in the fact that the ontological possibility of hope is a fact deeply rooted in natality. Nil desperandum. When Obama ran, he was the dark horse. He won. And I'm sure we could, and hope and pray that we do. Life is not a question of despondency and loss of hope. It is not, in the words of Shakespeare, a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Rather, in the words of Longfellow, in the Psalm of Life, life is sublime and meaningful. And you depart, leaving behind you footprints on the sands of time, footprints perhaps another. And I have no doubt that the 8th region of this country, the diaspora, in our rendezvous with history, when the musical chairs stop, you will be with a dividend chair. Thank you. Mr. Moderator, I now come to the speech of the President. Firstly, he apologizes because the constraints of prior engagements made it difficult for him to attend this auspicious occasion, inasmuch as he would like to. And I note that I'm in the shadow of an executive giant, and I present his speech. And the speech reads, as we gather here today for the 5th edition of the Stake of the Nation Forum, 1 month after the presidential elections of 4th December 2021, we give thanks to the Almighty for the continued blessing of peace and stability of our beloved Gambia. Once again, with great humility and an immense sense of responsibility, I express my gratitude to the people of the Gambia for giving me the mandate to remain in office for another 5 years. I campaigned and contested the presidential elections as a party candidate. I will govern as a humble citizen and a loyal servant of all people of the Blessed Republic. I call on all citizens of all persuasions and all friends of the Gambia from far and wide and from the diaspora to the villages and towns and up and down the river Gambia to join and assist me and my government in continuing the noble work of nation building and socio-economic development of our dear motherland. The fifth Stake in the Nation Forum focuses on the theme of consolidating and accelerating national development. At the first edition of this forum on 13th January 2018, I stated that we must be vigilant for the opportunity of infrastructure-led development and the opportunity of diaspora development. I made that statement barely a year into my presidency. Since then, my government has completed a number of major infrastructure projects in rural and urban Gambia. On the one hand, I am humbled by these developments, which positively improve and transform the lives and livelihoods of citizens of communities. Yet, on the other hand, I am reminded of the urgent need for even more projects and programs so as to consolidate and accelerate regional, national, and national development. I pledge and promise to maintain, expand, and enhance Gambia's infrastructure-led development program. And I call on all Gambians and friends of the Gambia to come and on board for the common good. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, whilst meeting the Gambia's diaspora in New York in September 2017, I made an observation that a government that listens and learns is a government that improves and succeeds. I still believe in these words. Today, in post-election period, allow me to make another observation. Quotes, honesty and transparency about difficulties, challenges, and even failures should not be used as a weapon to vilify and condemn. These should be used as tools to repair and improve. This is particularly important as we mature in our democracy and governance. As is to be expected, the diaspora contributed time, resources, ideas to the work and the campaign of the different political parties and groupings in the presidential elections. However, the fact remains that we were not all able to vote and be more engaged in the festive of democracy as we witness the nation and celebrate the democracy. We acknowledge the technical collaboration between MSDG project and the Independent Electoral Commission and the contribution of other stakeholders on the issue of diaspora voting. With humility and purposefulness, I urge all institutions of government and state and all stakeholders and development partners to redouble efforts to make diaspora voting a reality. In the past year, the Gambian Diaspora and Migration Directorate within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs became fully operational, and I congratulate the ministry for this progress. As the Directorate leads the review and the updating of the Gambian diaspora strategy in 2022. I urge all institutions to put more emphasis on timely and effective implementations of the commitment we made in our policy and strategy documents and plans. In many instances, our shortcomings are not due to the absence of good policies and plans, but the absence of effective implementation. The need for operational effectiveness is of paramount importance for all ministries, departments, agencies, as well as the state-owned enterprises. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as individuals, organizations, and businesses, the diaspora are a truly important partner in the noble task of consolidating and accelerating national development. As the figures of the Central Bank of the Gambia show, the trend is that remittances inflow to the country will reach 1 billion mark in the very near future. I am optimistic that the collaboration between the MSDG project and the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of the Gambia on structured diaspora financing and diaspora bonds will also progress in 2022. This work may benefit from the provisions in the recently passed legislations on capital markets by the National Assembly. Every Gambian is touched directly or indirectly by the contributions of the diaspora. As Professor Jibril Fall stated at the United Nations General Assembly in 2013, the diaspora are, and I quote, bakers and bankers, cleaners and clinicians, who seek advancement and development for themselves, their families, and communities. The sublime diaspora memory of belonging compels them to play their role in the development of the country of heritage, unquote. Whatever their income, be little or be it large, they share it with their families, communities in the Gambia. This is true in times of feast, in times of famine, as evidenced by their increased contribution during the COVID-19 pandemic. As always, I take the opportunity of this annual stake in the Nations Forum to express thanks to a grateful nation, to her daughters and sons and descendants who live and work far and wide across countries, across continents, and across oceans. I renewed the government's commitment to work closely with MSDG project, the government of Switzerland, and others to facilitate, expand, and enhance diaspora contribution through the Office of the President, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and other ministries, departments, and agencies. It is now my privilege to formally open the 5th stake in the Nations Forum and to wish you well in your deliberations and look forward to the 6th stake in the Nation Forum on 14 January 2023. The success of this forum will be judged not by the virtuous statements made here, but the promises kept, the commitments implemented, and the projects formulated. I thank you all.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Kerr la 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tâche. perfect skin skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen de lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man nag skin care mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skin care plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème picture boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii
love like fire bring my yobo guma fine love like fire
Agada.
Mbijan aganyani.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kuno bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato
bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam
ha
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol nko kodo kiya bele to kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto ni kodi maraw jannam number 1 di nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi mani domorol ni fana beteat Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina
yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
baraka
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.